Hello, this is Professor Gruen, and welcome back to ICM590. We are getting ready to enter Module 5, which is going to be talking about milestones. But before we talk about that, most of you know Mr. Really Big Boss is taking off and going to be leaving tomorrow. His plane, so make sure you get your team communication projects into Mr. Micromanage, or me, by AKA Professor Gruen, in time by 1 o'clock tomorrow. That way they can be reviewed on Sunday during the snowstorm. Hope everybody's keeping warm and being able to endure all that we've been going through. I've at first kind of getting out with the snowblower and stuff was kind of fun, but now it's to the point where, okay, I've had enough. I think we're all about ready for winter to be over. So let's take a look at what the what week Module 5 is going to entail for us. Okay, so clicking on Module 5 Milestones, let's take a look at what's there and a quick overview. Complete the Lessons Learned assignment. So what I'd like to do is a little bit of personal triage. Do not kill yourself trying to write the most elaborate paper at all. Quick overview, almost make it email-like if you want. And do not answer the questions, question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. But make sure all of the topics are covered. What worked well for your team? What struggles did your team have? How was leadership established? What roles were played? Maybe what software and what tools did you use to work together? I'm less interested in the actual communication project itself, but how did you guys, ladies and gentlemen, work together well? And I think the one thing, at a kind of a summary short paragraph, is from the experience that you had, what lessons from this assignment can you take back and apply to your job or your future projects that you might work on? So that's one assignment. Again, don't kill yourself on it. You should be able to just sit down, type it out, boom, and just make it a reflection-like paper. And then we talk about milestones, and some of the readings are definitely focused on milestones. And this is a really good list of what is a milestone is and what isn't a milestone. If you drive, I drive down 91 every day from East Windsor to New Haven, and I always see the little green mile markers. And I know, when I'm at mile marker 27, mile marker 15, mile marker 10, and those are points in my journey. If you have ever traveled, I'm sure everybody has traveled from home to somewhere else. I remember when I left home at the age of 19 and left Boston, and I made it to the Mississippi River. I mean, that was like, okay, we're halfway there. Making it through Kansas was a pretty good milestone. And so think about your capstone project, and there's a lot of individual tasks and stuff, but they will get you to a point that you can say, okay, I've got this done. The first milestone that you should have for all of your projects is complete the capstone project plan. You're in the planning phase right now. Some of you have actually may be doing some work on your project, but you don't have to be. But right now we're in the planning phase. We're trying to figure out everything that has to be done. So that's your first milestone. Your last milestone is submit the capstone project and graduate. So that really time boxes everything from now until you're done. Now what you have to do is think about all the tasks and the types of tasks and how you will group them together to actually say, okay, when I get this done, say I have to write a script and I have a lot to do in organizing and preparing that. Maybe I have to do some design work. Maybe if I'm doing a website, I have to get a prototypes done. I have to do a lot of setup things. So take a look, and a lot of times what you have to do with milestones is almost write down on a piece of paper all the tasks. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and you'll keep adding to that. You definitely will. Those tasks don't go away. And the list, if anything, as all of us know with projects we've dealt with, the task list gets, but group them. Group them into a logical grouping that I'm going to do this stuff, and then this is a milestone. Okay, I'm there, I'm done. I'm 25% of the way through, I'm 50% of the way through. And so what to do on your project plan workspace blog is create an item called Milestones, and then from there, um, and I think it's always helpful to put milestones dash your last name or your name, because then when I read them, it's easier to be sure whose blog I'm reading and stuff. But making sure it says milestones and list them. And you shouldn't have a million milestones. Um, you might have 4 or 5. You might have 7. But if you have over 10, I think that's probably going to be too many. So somewhere between 4 and 10 might make sense. It depends on the level of detail for your projects. Some of you might be able to get away with the first one and the last one and then 3 in the middle. So it really depends on the logical groupings of your project. So put those out there and we'll use those as discussion points. Here's some readings on milestones, and then here's the actual assignment to add the milestones to your project plan workspace. And then another video with me and Lynn Van Sweden, and we talk about the topic of milestones. And then in the last module, you had to read Requirements, Who Needs Requirements by John Stevenson. And he talks about how do you make the pizza? Do you make the pizza the way the customer wants it or how you like it? So what I'd like you to do is reflect on that again and answer this question in the discussion blog. Is it ever appropriate to impose your own point of view on a client's project design while developing the requirements to reveal what you think is a better idea? How should you communicate to the client if they have a really bad idea? And how do you even know if it's a bad idea? So there's a lot of times when the client may be totally off, and how do you handle that? Or you think the client's off, and who's paying who here, and how do you make those decisions? So a little bit of reflection on how do you impose your ideas, and how do you what do you think if the client's really missing the boat, and how do you handle that, and where do you draw the line? Is it ever appropriate to say, I'm not going to do that and walk away from the project? I remember when I was early in web development and early in a lot of business projects that it was really easy for me to just do absolutely everything and anything because I wanted the money, I wanted the experience. But now that I'm older, I find that I do less and less, and I know that I just go, that doesn't work for me, or I don't feel like I have a good relationship with the client, that I just know, we're done, and the money's not worth it at some point. So think about it from a design perspective, from a technology perspective. Where do you draw the line, and how do you make those things happen? So I'm looking forward to Mr. Really Big Box's team projects. Should be getting those tomorrow, and I'll be doing some reflection on those. I think it really is important to me for that assignment that this lessons learned review your team project is a self-reflection on how you worked as a group. And as I've mentioned all along, it's more important that the last 2 weeks of going through this assignment has been more important about the framework of working together as a team. All of us by now, by being at a graduate student level, we've had to work with teams together. So here's another time to just reflect and just to say what worked, what didn't, and more important, what lessons can I take back. Hope everybody's enjoying the class, and in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping to touch base with everybody one-on-one. I've got, 26 students, I think, in this class, and somehow, if possible, I'd like to be able to Skype with everybody in the next 2 to 3 weeks and just have 20-minute sessions to talk about your capstone project and to see if there's any one-on-one insights and one-on-one things that we can do to help fine tune and shape any topics on your capstone. So be prepared for that coming up in the very near future, and we'll have to figure out how to make that all work. Okay, I think that's about it. If there's any questions, as always, please email me. It's great to see how this is all shaping together, and to see the. I've really enjoyed reading a lot of the discussions and the posts that you've done, and I know sometimes all I submit is read by prof and graded. Um, I have a lot to read, and a lot of times what you are writing is just good, valid stuff, and I can't make a lot of, just due to the amount of time, I can't make a lot of input and stuff on everybody's discussions on, like, the DiCarlo thing. I mean, there's pretty much 2 or 3 ways of viewing that, and I'm more interested that you've thought through the topic and you've used that as a thinking point. And sometimes there just isn't anything to say. When something really tweaks my interest, and I go, oh, I like that, or you've made me think, or you've done something, then I communicate that back to you. So keep in touch. If there's any concerns, any issues, if anything I'm missing, let me know. And let's just keep moving forward. And hopefully pretty soon we'll be shoveled out of the snow.